Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm super excited to be here with you. My name is Jen Davis. I am a MAPS coach. I'm also the Vice President of MAPS Coaching for Keller Williams, and I have a real estate team. So I am based out of Springfield, Missouri. I'm on a team called Holt Homes Group. We sell roughly 525 to 550 homes a year, and about half of that production is all buy side. So when I come to you today, I'm coming to you with the heart of a coach and also the experience of a buyer's agent. I was a buyer's agent on our team for 6 years, consistently closed 225 units per year just on the buy side. So this was my specialty, and it's my favorite topic to talk about. So we're going to jump right into the content. I love when people participate. So if you have questions or comments or just want to share where you're at, what you're struggling with, put those in the chat. I would love to, for all of you to make some connections and maybe send some referrals back and forth to each other. So let us know where you're at today, what the weather's like. Here it is about 70 degrees. It's springtime and we're expecting some storms later today. So when I look at the 6 top strategies to working with buyers in a shifting market, most of this isn't necessarily going to be things that you've never heard before. So I'm actually here today to talk to you about best practices instead of common practice. So what I mean by that is we all, for the most part, unless you're brand new, know what to do. Sometimes I think that we struggle with the when do I do it? How do I do it, right? How do I take something that's an idea and actually put it into play? So one of the things I want to challenge you with today as we get started is looking at lead generation in a different way. Not the lead generation that you wish that you would do. Really look at the lead generation that you will do. So I'm not here to make you feel guilty and say, gosh, I should call for sale by owners, or I should call expireds, or I should go door knock, or I should go do these things. What is it that you actually like to do? And what is it that you're good at? For those of you that are new agents, look at what gives you energy, right? Is it talking on the phone? Is it being face-to-face with someone? Is it calling past clients? Or maybe your sphere if you're new? One of the things I like to help those that I coach determine is what are our lead generation levers? When we look at it, if you're on a team or if you're an individual, do you look at yourself as someone that's maybe marketing based and prospecting enhanced? Or do you look at yourself as an agent that's prospecting based and marketing enhanced? So what do I mean by that? Marketing based is going to be someone that really digs in on client events, reaching out to their database, a lot of social media, right? Doing those types of things with a little bit of prospecting. Marketing to me means we're trying to make that connection, right? It's a little bit of we're putting things out there and we're hoping to make the phone ring. When I look at prospecting based, the way that I look at that is I'm going to go and I'm going to proactively generate business by either getting belly to belly with someone, either getting somebody on the phone and talking with them. And so when we determine which of those are our levers, what's a good mix of that? It's all going to be determined by where your success lies. So for the team that I'm on, we've always been prospecting based with a marketing enhancement. We want to continually grow our database. We're on the hunt to have a giant database that will continually kick off a lot of business for us. So what we're looking at is we want to add new people to that database all the time. We're still going to market to them, yet I want our percentages to be somewhere around 40 to 45% of past clients that are coming back around, repeat referral. I want the bulk of our business, though, to be new business, because with new business comes new relationships, comes new names. So when I have looked around and interviewed top agents, here are some of the sources listed out that are the top sources from top agents. And sometimes I get pushback on current clients. They're like, well, that's not a source. Oh, but it is, right? If we look at our current clients, those are the clients that we're right now working with. Those are the ones that have their reticular activating system lined up with real estate, right? Those are the ones that are thinking about buying a home, selling a home, purchasing maybe that first investment property. Those current clients that you're working with, they're the ones that are all the time thinking about real estate. They're a great source for business, connecting with them and saying to them, who else do you know that is wanting to get into the market? Who else do you know that has a real estate goal in 2023? When we ask those questions, it causes them to think about it in a linear fashion. Who wants to do something this year, right? That's what they're talking about right now. So I'm not saying, who do you know that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I'm saying, who do you know that has a goal this year in real estate, wherever they're at? One of the things that I have determined is while someone ahead of getting to that closing table, they're really, really focused on their real estate goals for this year. Once they get to the closing table, those clients, while then they become past clients of mine and I want to pay attention to them and love on them and do those types of things, that RAS, that reticular activating system, switches actually from real estate to moving. Right? They're either getting settled in a new home, they're either renovating that investment property, they're doing something else. And so they're no longer actually focused on the idea of selling or buying real estate. So that current client base is one of the top sources of people, when I talk to top agents across the company, that they're saying, this is where I get a lot of business. I want every person that I'm currently working with to replace themselves by the time they get to the closing table. Another top source are those sphere and past clients. So our sphere are people that we have influence over, right? They're our friends, they're our family, they're our vendors. People underestimate the power of the vendors that we use. So when I look at my sphere, I would make a list of who do I write a monthly check to or a weekly check to, right? Who is somebody that I'm referring business to on a pretty consistent basis? Are they referring me business? So that person that mows my lawn, right? Let's say I've got a landscaping company. Well, I'm giving them business. More than likely, if a client of mine asks for, hey, Jen, do you have anyone that you know that could do some landscaping? I'd probably give them my person, right? Because they do a good job. So why wouldn't I reach out to my landscaping company and say, hey, I am planning on sending you business. Can you tell me how I earn the right to be the real estate agent that you refer? Our past clients, those are the people that know, love, and trust us. They've already operated within our team. They know our systems. Chris Young, I see that you're on here and I've known Chris a long time. She does a really good job staying in contact with her past clients. And the reason that she does that is because she offers really high-end customer service. So if you're going to offer high-end customer service, you should expect to get referral business from that in the future. I know that this is a buyer class, and I know we're here to talk about working with buyers in a shifting market. Yet another top source for working with a buyer are listings. It's how we pull in new buyers. When our team has a house that's listed, my goal is to get 2 to 3 other pieces of business from that. What I know is when I was operating as a buyer's agent, I had the pipeline that I needed to have when our listing team had the amount of inventory that they needed to have. So there was one April where Dan Holt, who's my business partner, took, I think, 50 listings. He was like, I'm going to take 50 listings himself. It was wild times, right? He takes 50 listings. The following month, so that month of May, I put 36 buyers under contract. It's a direct correlation, right? When we have a lot of inventory and we're actively marketing it and we're actively picking up leads from those new listings, we have the pipeline of buyers that we need to have enough buyers that we have right now buyers. So for those of you that are solely work with buyers, you're out there and you're like, gosh, Jen, it's so hard. I don't need any more buyers. I need more inventory, or I need to know how to make this buyer move forward faster. You do. Right? We do need to be able to create urgency within buyers. Yet one of the things that I would suggest to you is if you have enough, If you have plenty of buyers in your pipeline, you can very quickly identify what their timeline and motivation is. You know what will happen? You're only going to work with those right now buyers, and we're going to create a follow-up plan for those buyers that can't buy in this market. Open houses. For those of you that are like, Jen, I don't want to call anyone. I don't want to call. I don't want to make dials. It's not my jam. The thing that one of the great opportunities that we have is we can do something called an open house, and we can advertise it well. We can market it well. We can put balloons up, and we can do all kinds of things in order to have this call to action, which is we're inviting people to come into a house. We're inviting someone to walk through that we want to walk through so that we can talk to them about what their needs are in real estate. A top lead source for most teams are still sign calls. What do sign calls come from? They come from listings. Yeah. So a sign call can, and internet leads, what do those come from? They come from listings. So whether you're taking listings, your team is taking listings, or there are just agents in your market center that are taking listings, what can you do with those so that you can drive more buyers to you? Can we run a smart plan through command, right, and capture leads? Can we host an open house? If it's our listing, how do we make sure that every call that comes in, we have the ability to capture that buyer's information, find out where they're at in their timeline of and motivation, and then convert it? So my challenge to you today is, do you know your top 3 sources? If you're a new agent, can you identify one that sounds like, hey, I think this would be my skill set? And then think of the person, for those of you that are new agents, in your market center that does that well. I can think of the person in my market center that hosts a really great open house. And if I needed to learn how to do that, my first call would be to that person to say, hey, can I shadow you? Can I come watch you do this? Identify those sources and then lean into it, because what happens is sometimes we just sit in this stuff where we're like, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And I don't know that I care what it is that you're doing, as long as you're doing something. What I know is, in a shifting market, there are a lot of things that feel unsettled, right? There's a lot of anxiety that comes with market changes. Some of you are having the best month you've ever had. Some of you are having the most challenging month you've ever had. It's just a determination of where are we at in our activities, right? What I know is the faster I get into dollar producing activities in the day, the lower my anxiety is. High production, low anxiety. It's just how it works. So when I challenge you to look at these sources, I really want you to narrow down, what is it I'm good at? What is it I like to do? And what will I actually do? And by the time we're off this call, can you put that on your calendar? Not Monday, right? It's like we talk about diets. Diets always start on Monday. Same with lead generation, just going to start on Monday. Start it tomorrow. What would it take for you to do one thing tomorrow to move your business forward? Lead follow-up. We've all heard the saying, fortune is in the follow-up. Did you know that agents get business on the 6th contact? Contact, not try. The 6th contact is when they get the business. Do you know when most agents give up? Usually before they get to the first contact. Certainly 50% drop off by the time they get to the second contact. Do you know how to follow up with someone? Do you have them in a system? So there's been this great evolution since I've been at KW into, a technology company. And yet when I first started, I had a notebook that I had every buyer I was working with and when the last time I talked to them was. That was really even before everyone texted. It was phone calls. And it was a system that I could follow. I was in my car so much that I had to have access to something that instead of listening to the radio, I'd have a list of people I could call. Well, now we've got command and we've got all these great things that we can dial out of an app that then logs the call. We can put our notes in. Yet what I want you to do is what you'll do. I want you to do what it is that you'll commit to. And then we want to make sure that we're providing value. So when I call, I know I'm picking on Chris because I know her well. Yet if I called Chris and just said, "Hey, Chris, it's Jen. How are you? What's going on?" Da, 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 da. Chris is happy to probably hear from me. There's no value add to her though. If I call Chris and say, "Hey, Chris, I have just been thinking about you, and I know that you're not interested in moving until fall." Yet the more I think about it, I have a little bit of concern around interest rates. There are some predictors out there, whether they're accurate or not, that interest rates actually may bounce down in Q2 just to go back up in Q3 or Q4. What would it take for you to be able to buy right now? Who would you need to connect with? And so what I'm doing is I'm adding value to Chris by saying, I'm unsure of what's coming. I'm not trying to pressure you. I'm listening to this is your timeline. Yet what value can I offer Chris so that she may make a decision sooner? And you know what? Even if she doesn't make that decision sooner, I'm still in contact with her. If Chris is someone that I think is interested in home values, it may be that my call is, "Hey, I'm watching this and there's just crazy opportunity in new construction right now. I'm watching that these builders are discounting some of their pricing. I'm watching that they're offering some buyer concessions. Have you looked at this?" I might send her an article that I think pertains to her. Yet what I'm doing is I'm offering her value. It is a relational business. I do want to build rapport with people. I want them to like me. I want to like the people that I work with. Yet my value isn't that I'm a nice person or that I'm funny or that I can remember a lot of details about people. My value is my knowledge. More specifically, my value is my market knowledge. My goal, my job as a buyer's agent is to find my buyer the best house at the best price in the time frame that fits their needs. So when I look at that, the best house at the best price that fits their needs in their timeline, the best house at the best price doesn't mean cheapest. The best house at the best price means the best house for them at the price that the market is saying is accurate in the time frame that fits their needs. So one of the things I want to challenge everyone with is, do you know the people that you're following up with, what value it is that they would need, what information it is that they would need in order to be able to move forward? And then making sure that we have those smart plans for nurturing leads. One of the burnout from a buyer comes from that we're showing houses to people that can't buy right now or don't want to buy right now. What Gary says is that from the time a buyer enters your funnel, it's about 18 months before they transact. Now, that's not all buyers, yet on average, they're entering an agent's funnel 18 months before they actually buy a house. Well, wouldn't I be more tired showing buyers that are 18 months away from purchasing a house than if I'm showing buyers that are 1 month away from showing a house? Yet I have to have a pipeline. So I need those 18-month out buyers. I just have to find a way to leverage my time so that instead of showing them houses, I'm following up with them in other ways. Text messages, emails. I'm constantly dripping on them, adding value. So when they're ready to buy, that they don't want to use anyone but me. However, my value to an 18-month out buyer is not showing them houses. Those properties aren't still going to be there. And they're going to be frustrated and you're going to be frustrated. And there's an old line that people say, buyers are liars. My challenge to you all that are on this call is, are the buyers liars or did we not ask the right question? Are the buyers liars or did we catch them in the funnel 6 months out and we just really, really, really need them to be a right now buyer because we don't have a big enough pipeline? Have we actually interrogated what their timeline and motivation is? So when I look at a pipeline report, right, I'm also building out a communication plan. Many of you on here know me and have sat through other trainings with me. And I talk about that I want my motivation to match the buyer's motivation. Why is that? I want it to match so I don't overwhelm them. I'm a lot. I communicate a lot. If I'm communicating with a buyer that is, let's say, 6 months out from now, and I'm communicating with them as though they need to be under contract next week, might I overwhelm them? Sure. Yet, if I've got a buyer that needs to be under contract next week and I'm communicating with them like they're going to buy 6 months from now, might I disappoint them? Yes. So when I build my pipeline report, I'm also building my communication plan. We call them a hot nurture watch. Other people have A, B, and C. You can name them whatever you want. But a hot buyer to me is someone that they're buying right now, they have no contingency plan, they need to be under contract, which means I'm calling, texting, sending smoke signals every time a new listing that meets their criteria hits the market. And nurture to me means they're going to probably buy in the next 90 days. I need to stay on top of it. And a watch to me means anywhere from 90 days to 6 months. That doesn't have to be what it means for you. You just need to be able to communicate it with your clients of where in here do you lie? Where in here, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, how do you want to be communicated with? Is it going to overwhelm you if I call, text, and email you every single day? If they say yes, they're probably not a right now buyer. That's cool. Build the follow-up plan based on your pipeline and communication plan. So we started the call with some homework, which is identify your top sources. What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? Add it to your calendar. The second piece of homework is I want you to each to regroup with your current buyers. How many of your buyers right now do you know without a doubt what their motivation and timeline is? Without a doubt. So when I look at buyers, I look at them and they're either aspirin buyers or they're vitamin buyers. An aspirin buyer is not someone that gives you a headache. An aspirin buyer is someone that is solving a pain point, and that's why they're buying. Death, divorce, downsize, something. They have to move. That's an aspirin buyer. Their motivation and timeline should be very clear and very easy to identify. A vitamin buyer is someone that is buying as an enhancement. They want a pool. They want a bigger house. They may want a different school district, right? They want an extra parking spot, whatever that looks like. They're buying to enhance their quality of life. Yet they're the people that typically are like, I don't have to buy. I'd like to buy. Doesn't mean that they aren't a right now buyer. It just means that you have to understand their motivation and timeline differently than you would an aspirin buyer. So when we regroup with our current buyers, if there's somebody that you're thinking of and you're like, I have shown them 5 houses, 7 houses over that, and I still don't have a very good, I don't feel like I know what they want, or I feel like I've shown them the house that I thought they should have purchased, call them today. Ask them what their plan B is. If they've got a super detailed plan B, it's probably their plan A. We may not have caught the motivation and timeline, and we may need to regroup with them. Just call them. That's the second piece of homework. Anyone that you've shown more than 5 or 6 houses to, I want you to call and use this conversation framework. Hey, Chris, it's Jen. I was just thinking about you, and I feel like maybe I missed something in our strategy session. Can you talk me back through what it is that you were looking for and when you wanted to be there, and asking those additional questions? We also want to make sure that any buyers that we're currently working with were forward pacing. So there's an easy thing for you all to remember, which is called set or signed. At the end of every appointment, I'm either setting the next appointment or I'm signing a document. So at my strategy session or buyer consult, they're either signing the buyer agency agreement or we're setting the time that they will. Right? At the end of every showing, I'm either saying, I'm so sorry this didn't work, and I'm setting, hey, let's go back out and look tomorrow and we'll regroup. I'm setting the next appointment, or they're signing an offer. I'm never saying to a buyer, hey, I'm so sorry. I'll go back to the office and, I'll give you a call the next time something pops up that I think would be a good fit for you. I'm never saying that. I'm saying, I'm so sorry this didn't work. Let me go regroup. I believe I can find you something better to look at. Can you go back out tomorrow at 2? The buyer then understands I'm shopping to buy. And guess what else? It creates accountability on the agent to go back and find the house that we're going to show them for them to write the offer. We're forward pacing them. So it's either set or it's signed. We're closing the deal. When we're there, are they buying the house? If they're not buying the house, why are they not buying the house? What did we miss? Did we miss motivation? Did we miss timeline? Did we miss criteria? Usually not. It's usually not criteria. It's usually motivation or timeline. Negotiation skills. Are you able to set precedent for your buyer on what does it look like to write an offer that wins in your market? Some of you are in a slower market. Some of you, like me, were in a slower market and then it all of a sudden just picked back up. And now we're back into multiple offers and we're in all these things. You've got to be able to move from negotiation skill to negotiation skill. Do we have the ability to negotiate for the buyer? Or do we need to have the ability to set the right tone for the buyers so they know how to be prepared to write an offer? The perfect offer starts in the strategy session, right? My friend Kyle Rawls said that to me one time, and it's like so smart. If you don't set the tone for what the buyer can expect on how to write an offer in your initial strategy session, all you're doing is setting yourself up to have to negotiate with your buyer later. So does the buyer know what's expected and what it takes to win? And are you able to communicate that clearly to your buyers? So that was a ton of information in a 30-minute window. We've got another promo coming, or another free webinar coming up in a couple of weeks, also all about buyers. If you've got some questions or ahas, pop those in the chat. Also, if any of you have any questions for me around some of the content from today, please don't hesitate to reach out. We do have another round of Mega Buyer Agent coming up. So if you liked the content today and you were like, hey, I'd love to spend 6 weeks with Jen, super fun. I talk a lot and we get to actually come off mute and practice conversations and role plays and all kinds of things. We launched June 1, scan that QR code, get signed up. Otherwise, I hope that I get to see all of you very soon and go sell a house, regroup with those buyers, get your lead gen on your calendar. Have an awesome day. Talk to everybody soon. Have a good day.